What's up, vintage toy fans? Every single muscle here, and I call myself that because over the last several months across social media, I've been doing posts highlighting every single muscle. Now, what is muscle? Well, it's quite possibly the greatest toy line in existence. Released by Mattel in the 1980s, it was made up of little tiny rubber pro wrestling alien dudes that, unbeknownst to kids here in the United States and anyone outside of Japan, were actually based on characters from a manga and anime series called Kinnikuman. And what I've decided to do here is make a compilation of the first 50 every single muscle figure videos all in one convenient place. So without further ado, here it is, part 1 of every single muscle. What's up, internet? I've never experimented with TikTok before, but I figured I should finally take the time to figure things out. And I'm going to start things out by talking about my favorite toy line of all time, millions of unusual small creatures lurking everywhere, the 1980s sensation known as M.U.S.C.L.E. And we're going to talk one by one. Every TikTok post I have is going to be a little discussion about each figure, all 233 plus figures. And right now we're going to start with figure that is called number 1. It's this guy right here. This is a blue version of it. Of course, it comes in several different colors. If you're not familiar, you can see some samples below. This guy is the number 1 listed figure in the set, known as Muscle-Man or Kinnikuman. More on that later. Stay tuned for more of every single muscle. We're moving right along here with muscle figure number 2. This is Buffaloman, aka Terri-Bull. What I love about muscle figures and why I fell in love with them at such a young age is all of the detail work on these characters. You can see he's got this awesome shoulder pad. He's got a broken horn. There's so much fine detail on these tiny little rubber sculpts. That's what the charm is, and that's why you can collect millions of these unusual small creatures lurking everywhere. Like I said before, there are 233 plus different sculpts. You can get them in so many different colors. And if you're interested in doing that, eBay is your friend, Facebook is your friend, Instagram is your friend. There's lots of people collecting these things. And if you want more, stay tuned. We're going to go through all 233 and possibly more after that. We're still just getting things started here because we're only up to muscle figure number 3. This guy is known as Sunshine. He's a big, blocky dude. He's got, again, with all muscles, there's just such fine detail. Really cool looking figure. This one's got his arm up in the air. You're going to see, again, this character is going to show up throughout the line. There are several different Sunshine figures. This one's got these kind of rollers in his chest and his arm up in the air and a big smile on his face. He's got a lot of charm. And as you can see, I've got this one in red, but muscle figures come in all different sizes. There's this one that is often referred to as pink, sometimes flesh. There's orange and green. There's a dark blue, a light blue, a purple, a magenta, and salmon. And there are a couple other colors that might pop up, but you know, here's my Sunshine in a beautiful, vibrant red, and he just looks so happy and excited to be here. And hopefully you're excited to see him. Well, more coming up soon. Stay tuned. We're going to keep plowing forward and seeing how many of these I can crank out on my first day on TikTok. This guy is muscle figure number 4, known as Kani Besu or Crab Bass. I don't know. I don't actually speak Japanese, and his name has never been translated particularly well. But most importantly about this guy is just how absolutely cool he is. This guy is, you can see I have the green version here. I've had this one since I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. One of my very first muscle figures. I love his clippy, cloppy, scissory crab hands, the little eyeballs on top of his head, his teeth, his nostrils. He's just a really fun figure, and in green, it's you know kind of a vibrant color that gives it that much more character. So you know, there's muscle figure number 4. Feels like we're on a roll now, so here's muscle figure number 5, Planet Man. And as you can see, his body's made up of several different planets. There's Saturn there in his crotch, giving him a nice little halo around. And this one's kind of cool because he's got a wider stance. A lot of the figures kind of have a standard pose. This guy's got a little bit of almost like a sumo pose. He's got those mysterious eyes. And, you know, these planets, they're not just round balls. They've got a little bit of texture because, like I said, with muscles, there's so much detail and so much texture, and you can see it in this guy right here. This one's in the light blue, the sky blue color. Really great little figure, and there are so many more, so stay tuned. Okay, we're really cooking with gas now. We're up to muscle figure number 6. This is Sneagator in the Kinnikuman anime that all these characters are from. This character is a lizard that turns into a sneaker. Yeah, I don't get it either, but that's okay. You don't have to get it. It's just an awesome, fun time. It's this weird anime about pro wrestling and superheroes and kaiju monsters and aliens and fighting, and it's really dope, and it's got all kinds of wonderful little characters in it, and that's what all of these guys are originally based on. And so here we've got the kind of frill-necked version of Sneagator here. Just an awesome character. You can see there are those laces on his chest, on his stomach there. That's because he's actually a sneaker and a lizard. I don't know. I can't explain. That's not for me to do. But hey, if you like it, collect them all. It's time for muscle figure number 7. This guy's name is Puyo Puyo. I don't know what that means. I don't speak Japanese, but I do know that this is one of the most, if not the most, adorable of all the muscle figures. He's also relatively small compared to your average muscle, as you can see right here. But just a cute little dude. He's this furry little ball of I don't know what with squinty little eyes and tiny hands and legs and a little tuft of hair on top of his head. I've actually had this figure since I was about his size. I was 5 years old when I got my first set of muscles, maybe even 4 years old, and he was among the few, and I still have him to this very day. I still have most of my toys from way back when because I can't let go. And why should I? Because they're so damn cool. Here we are with muscle figure number 7, Shishkeba Boo. I don't know if I said that right. Shishkeba Boo. It's definitely based on the word shish kebab. There's a lot of meat metaphors in the world of Kinnikuman. Kinniku itself means meat, I believe. But anyway, here's number 7. You know, they're not all winners. This guy may be one of my least favorite of all the figures, but he does have some character. He's got these big lips and a big dumb look on his face. His eyes are a little bit crossed. And so there he is. You know, he's got the little Kinnikuman style mohawk on top of his head. He's wearing a tank top. They're not all winners, like I said. Now answer me this. Am I posting too much? Is 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 posts in a 15 to 20 minute period like a mistake here on TikTok? Tell me if I'm doing it wrong. I really need to know. Leave a comment in the comments. And just like that, we're already repeating a character here with muscle figure number 9. This is Planet Man again. This is a more classic design, in my opinion, because this guy came in the very first set that I had when I was a wee little kid. I didn't know what any of the characters' names were back then because they didn't put that on the packaging. It was only Muscle Man and Terri-Bull. Those are the only two that had any sort of identification on the packaging. Otherwise, it was up to your own imagination. So as a little boy and seeing these little round shapes that made up this character, I had dubbed him Sergeant Duty Ball. Let me know what you think in the comments. And we're going to round out today's TikTok posts with this guy right here. This is Peter Maivia. He is loosely based on and named for High Chief Peter Maivia, who's a professional wrestler and the grandfather of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who in his earlier professional wrestling years was known as Rocky Maivia. So this guy right here, you know, again, not all muscles are created equal, and not all of them are as cool as others. This guy's on the blander side when it comes to the muscle sculpts, but he does have a pretty cool helmet. He's got a little bit of hair poking out the top, some sort of batwing iconography on his chest that I can't exactly make sense of. But, you know, there he is, and I hope that you're enjoying these posts. I'm thinking I'm going to continue doing it as long as people are liking them and taking a look. Or maybe even not, because screw it, I like doing this. Have fun, have a good one, have a good weekend, and enjoy every single muscle. What's up, Internet? We're back again with every single muscle, and today we're taking a look at number 11. This guy's name is Hydra King. He's got these weird bulbous knobs on top of his head that point in every direction, kind of giving him this like visual crown. He's got some cool eyes on his chest. Again, this figure's got some really fine detail work, which is the trademark of every muscle figure and every great muscle figure. If you want to know a little about the character, I believe he's very obscure. He shows up in only one of the Kinnikuman anime movies and not in the manga at all, but who really cares about that? Because when you got him as a toy and you're a little kid and you have no idea who any of the characters are, it doesn't matter how obscure he is. This guy could be the leader of the entire villain franchise if you wanted to do it that way. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming up. Up next, it's Oil Man. This guy's got an oil drum for a head and a body. He's got these little crab-like hands. I don't know, maybe they're maybe they're can opener hands. A lot of character here. This character, I believe, is pretty obscure in the Kinnikuman franchise, but who really cares? Look how awesome he is. There are a lot of characters that aren't exactly humanoid. They're a little bit more anthropomorphized, items or creatures, and we're going to see a lot more of that. And starting with Oil Man here, just a really great little dude. We are rocking and rolling and plowing forward with figure number 12, King Cobra. He's a snake / Egyptian themed Kinnikuman character. You can see he's got this square shaped head, very square jaw. Got a little bit of a Frankenstein vibe to him. Strangely wearing some cutoff shorts and cutoff tank top there. I don't really know what the deal with his outfit is, but he's a fun looking dude. While I have you though, I saw some people in the comments asking, what does it cost to buy these figures or to sell these figures? Now, on average, if you're going to see a figure of this color, the standard pink or flesh color as it's sometimes called, you don't want to spend more than, I don't know, $1, $1.50, $2 on one of these guys. $2.50 and you're like really pushing it. Don't get bullied into spending that much on one of the figures of this color. That's definitely, the price is very low, and so you shouldn't spend too much, except for a few exceptions, which I'll get to down the line. What's up, Internet? We're here again today with another edition of Every Single Muscle, and today we're starting with muscle figure number 14. This guy's name is Robin Mask. Robin Mask is one of the main characters in the Kinnikuman anime. He's a member of Kinnikuman's faction of Justice Chojin, but this figure here is not his typical design. His typical design resembles more of like your standard knight helmet. This guy's got a lot more plain looking body, and he's got this pointy helmet here. But what I actually want to talk about today is what it costs to buy figures of different colors, right? So normally the figures are seen in this pink or flesh color, but so many of them exist in orange or red or blue or light blue or green or purple. I can go on and on. So the pricing of those figures really varies. And in the muscle collecting community, they're kind of categorized in 3 different ways. There's Class A, Class B, and Class C muscles. So Class C muscles are your pretty common variety. So this guy's a Class C. Most of the figures I show you are going to be Class C, and they're just very common figures. So if you bought those guys, they shouldn't cost much more than your average flesh-colored muscle. Maybe $2.50, $3 on the higher end. Then there's Class B and Class C muscles, and what that just means is that some figures are harder to find in certain colors, and the pricing varies greatly. I don't have exact prices for you. It's impossible to actually remember all of that information, but if you're into this and you want to study up, do some research, join some of the Facebook groups. There's a great group called Muscle Collectors. The Minifigure Militia is also very helpful. So join the community if you want to collect these guys. Stay tuned. We've got a lot more coming up. Coming up next on Every Single Muscle, it's one of the most popular figures in the line. This is another edition of the Sunshine character, although this time it's the Sunshine Arch, as he's known in the collectors community. Definitely one of the more popular sculpts, and it stands out on a shelf because it's not your typical character, right? It's not your standard anthropomorphic humanoid shape. He looks like something all his own, and it's got these incredible fine square-shaped details on him. He looks awesome on a shelf, like I said. One thing to note about him is because he's so popular, you might have to spend an extra 50 cents to $1 on top of your standard $1.50 to $2.50 price range on a muscle for a guy like this. And of course, that varies depending on the color, but when you're looking at your standard pink or flesh color, that's probably the price range you're looking at. Stay tuned for more. Coming up next on Every Single Muscle, we've got figure number 16. This is Neptuneman, and he's actually the first salmon-colored figure that I've featured on my TikTok here. So salmon is somewhere between the orange and flesh colors of the last figures that you've seen there. But something I actually want to talk about is that I've seen people in the comments mention that they remember getting muscle figures in vending machines. And the truth is, muscle figures, or at least official ones, were never released in vending machines. They were released in 4-packs, they were released in 10-packs, they were released in 28-packs, but there were several bootlegs of them made in vending machines. So the way you can tell the difference between an official muscle and a bootleg is the information on the back here, right? So you're going to see there's a copyright. It says YSNT, and there's a B in a circle there. The Y stands for Yuta Tamago, which is the pen name for the creators of Kinnikuman. I'm not totally sure on all of the other ones off the top of my head. I know that the B stands for Bandai, but your standard muscle with a harder rubber is going to have that impression on the back. Now, if you're picking up a Japanese figure, they're going to be a rubberier rubber, a more flexible rubber, and they're also going to have this standard notation on the back. But in vending machines, here's a bootleg that I actually had growing up as a kid. You can see he's slightly smaller. Oop, dropping some guys here. You can see he's slightly smaller than the official Neptuneman here. And you'll notice on the back that it says Hong Kong and not the YSNT copyright. So that's how you can tell the difference. And another thing about a lot of the bootleg ones is that they're often a different material. This one's a lot more waxier looking. It's definitely got more of a sheen than your standard muscle. Other ones are going to be rubberier. But, that's a little bit of information, and just so you can tell the difference between a real one and a bootleg. But should be noted that a lot of times the bootlegs are even more popular and sometimes priced a little bit higher than the standard ones, just because they're so fun and weird, and they can get pretty wonky too. We're back with another edition of Every Single Muscle, and today we're going to kick things off with muscle figure number 17. This is Muscleman himself, also known as Kinnikuman in the original anime and manga that the toy line is originally based on. This particular figure is, there are a couple different Muscleman or Kinnikuman figures that show up in the line. This one's very different than the first one we had seen. You can see he's got this very short cape. He's got a really serious look on his face. Really cool looking dude. Something you might want to know about this character is that is not his face. He's actually wearing a mask, not unlike a lucha mask. The people on planet Kinniku tend to wear these masks. It's kind of part of their culture. And Kinnikuman himself, if he were to remove this mask, it is believed that he is extremely handsome underneath, but to see his face would be an offensive thing to the people of his culture. They don't actually ever remove their masks, and if they did, you would get like this godlike glow just to be exposed to such a handsome face, which is really funny considering the character himself is this kind of goofball idiot who just stands for friendship and justice. Anyway, stay tuned. We got a lot more muscle figures coming up down the line. Coming up next on Every Single Muscle, we've got figure number 18. This is Diaman, and his name is, of course, derived from the fact that his body is made up of diamonds. His head is a diamond. His body has all these other sharp-pointed shapes, a little emerald shape in the middle of his chest. Definitely a unique figure in the muscle line, in the Kinnikuman line. One thing I'll say about this guy, you can see this is a magenta figure. That's because when I was a little kid, this is from my original childhood set, I had received the Muscle 28-pack of Cosmic Crunchers, which is what he came along in, and that involved, of course, 27 other figures of various colors. But I also received a full set of the Cosmic Crunchers, but in the standard pink or flesh color, as you can see there on the left. So there's Diaman in two different varieties. You can see them side by side. We'll be doing a few more of those as we go along, but stay tuned. We're going to be talking about plenty more of muscle. In fact, you might say we're talking about every single muscle. Stay tuned. We're rolling right along now with muscle number 19, Black Killer. Now, Black Killer is a very minor character. Doesn't appear in the manga at all, and I believe only shows up in the TV special, but that doesn't matter at all to a little kid with hundreds of little muscle figures, and it doesn't matter at all to me, an adult who still collects these things. What matters is how freaking cool he looks. This guy's got a crab hand. He's got some sort of chainmail pants. His other hand appears to be some sort of sickle-like weapon. He's got a cool helmet. He's got a scary face. He appears jacked to the gills. Just an overall awesome figure in the muscle line. And he's just one of many because there are so many more to come. Stay tuned for Every Single Muscle. Next up, it's muscle figure number 20. This is Mayumi Kinniku. He's the father of Muscleman or Kinnikuman, and this is the only representation of him in the toy line. This is a figure that I got way back when I was a kid. It came in probably one of those 4-packs, possibly one of the 10-pack trash cans. I really love this figure. He's got these awesome little mutton chops. He's got this stout, chubby, squat look. It says his name right on his shirt. Not that I ever recognized that as being a name, but just a really great little figure. As a kid, I remember calling him like the Human Bullet or Bullet Man, just because he's looks so tense and he just kind of straight and sturdy like that. But anyway, definitely a delightful character, and he's got so much personality in his face there too. Just an overall great muscle figure. We're back with another Every Single Muscle After Dark, and this time we've got number 21, Akuma Shogun, aka General Devil. Akuma Shogun, definitely one of the more intimidating faces in the muscle toy box. If you take a look at him, he's just got these very terrifying features. He looks like something out of a horror movie. It's like a Jason mask, but with some horns. It's very Viking or medieval looking, while at the same time he's got all this like windswept hair. He actually comes from hell, so he's this evil knight from hell. So definitely a really interesting, scary character. And here's something I just took note of. He's got this adorable little ponytail in the back. What the heck, let's do another one of these real quick. Here we are with number 22, the Vice, or the Manriki. There's no question about it, the Vice is a hoss. This dude is beefy, he's jacked up, he's got a vice over his shoulders that he uses to crush his opponents. You can see the little lever there to allow him to tighten up his grip. Just a really cool dude, just jacked to the gills, right? I don't know what else to say about this guy other than he's undeniably awesome. And if you had him as a kid, make a shout out in the comments. Let me know what you think. This dude I did not have growing up, and man, I feel like I was missing out on something because he is so cool. As for a little bit of anime trivia, this guy shows up as a member of Team Kinnikuman Zebra in the Five Fated Princes arc. I don't want to get too deep on the manga and anime stuff, but inevitably, when we're talking about this many figures, we're going to need to talk about something, and I'm going to throw out some trivia here and there, so hope that's cool. Every Single Muscle is back today with muscle figure number 23, the rock monster Iwao. But before we dig into it, I just want to say stick around to the end of the video. I'm going to be sharing my Iwao version of a Deca Kinkeshi figure. And if you're wondering what a Deca Kinkeshi figure is, you're about to find out. But first, more on Iwao. This craggly little rock monster is one of the most interesting and fun-looking characters in the entire Muscle series. I didn't have him as a kid, but I imagine if you did, he was probably one of the main characters that you played around with, because he's just so craggly and defined. He's got a lot of attitude. He's got two fists just ready to fight. And apparently fall. In the anime series, Iwao is a bit of a comic relief character. He, alongside Kinkatsu-man, are villains turned cheer squad for Kinnikuman. Here he is in the Kinnikuman Encyclopedia. And as promised, here he is beside his Deca Kinkeshi counterpart. To give it a little information about these, so obviously your average muscle are about 1.5 inches tall, whereas the Deca Kinkeshi, you're closer to 3.5 inches. So in Japan, every single muscle came out in a line called Kinkeshi, and there were actually way more than 233. There were over 400, 500, and beyond different Kinkeshi sculpts. But also, outside of the main line, they made them in various different scales, one of which are called Deca Kinkeshis. And so a lot of characters that you know and love from the muscle line actually exist in this size as well. This one's one of my favorite ones in the whole series. Thanks for watching. Stick around. We got many more Decas coming up. Every Single Muscle rolls on with figure number 24, Cube Man. As you can see here, the Cube Man I have is actually the first ever purple figure I featured on my TikTok here. He looks really very awesome in this vibrant purple. So yeah, if it's not already perfectly clear, Cube Man here is a Rubik's Cube based character. There are a lot of anthropomorphized characters in the Muscle universe. They take inanimate objects and creatures and animals and turn them into fighting pro wrestling aliens, and he's just another great example of that. Here's his entry in the Kinnikuman Encyclopedia. And here he is beside his Deca Kinkeshi counterpart, another figure that I'm very excited to have as part of my collection. In conclusion, Cube Man, he's awesome. But you should stay tuned because we've got so many more muscles coming up. Every single muscle's back with number 25, Prince Kamehame. I got a green Prince Kamehame here. Something I'll say about a lot of the green figures is, it's a lighter color, and when these things collect some dirt, as they often did when you're a little kid playing in a sandbox or something, they're a little bit harder to clean off permanently. They do tend to have some markings on them when they get a little dusty, compared with the other colors. Prince Kamehame looking like a champ here. This character comes from the beaches of the Hawaiian Islands. That's where he trained Kinnikuman during the American tour arc. So he's definitely got some Hawaiian Islander vibes. There's a full half-page spread from the Kinnikuman encyclopedia. But in a line of figures as awesome as M.U.S.C.L.E, unfortunately, I don't think this guy really stands out. Maybe you disagree, and if so, let me know in the comments.
Invasion of the muscle things. They've come to drive America nuts. They're ugly, they're weird, they're tiny, they're terrible. And they're pink! There are hundreds of them. It's an epidemic. I'm going crazy!
We'll catch them!
Muscle things. Hundreds of different, I don't know whats. They run in packs of 4, 10, or 28. Sold separately, new from Mattel. How many can you capture?
Hey everyone, if you don't already, why not subscribe to the channel? We're talking every single muscle. We're talking every single battle beast. And we're talking every cool, weird, little vintage rubber dude along the way. If you like vintage toys and action figures, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell thingy. What are you waiting for? We're back with another Every Single Muscle After Dark. And tonight we've got number 26, The Ninja. The Ninja. And the ninja really does live up to his name, his very uncreative name. This guy is a ninja, and you can see it in his outfit here too. A little background on the character in the anime series, and I assume so in the manga as well. He's a member of the 6 Devil Knights faction, alongside some of the other characters that we've already introduced on my channel, like Sunshine, and damn it, there were some other ones I totally forgot right now. Planet Man, that's who I was trying to think of. Later on, the ninja would renounce his evil ways and join Team Kinnikuman Soldier. And hey, look, I got a deck of him too. If you're starting to think, man, this guy has a lot of toys, you're not wrong. Another day, another edition of Every Single Muscle, and today we're kicking things off with number 27. This is Ashura-Man, and it's the first of 5 or 6 figures of this character that appear in the series. Now, I think the most obvious thing to mention here is that Ashura-Man's got 6 arms, which is what makes him stand out so much compared to some of the other figures, but there are other Ashura-Mans in the line. What distinguishes this particular figure is that this is kind of his, casual attire, not so much his in-ring battle gear. He's definitely got a big smile on his face, and he's wearing this toga because, he's in casual mode right now. Now, it's worth noting, of course, that Ashura-Man's actually one of the main characters that appears in the line, or at least he's a very recurring character, so much so that he gets his own page in the encyclopedia. Definitely one of the more popular figures in the line. I'm sure you guys have a lot to say about him, so don't be afraid to leave some thoughts in the comments below and tell me if he's your favorite version of Ashura-Man, or if there's another one. We're going to keep things rolling with muscle figure number 28. This guy's name is Jean Steamboard. And if that name sounds odd to you, well, it is. But you should know that he's actually named after pro wrestler Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Of course, he doesn't actually resemble Ricky the Dragon Steamboat in any way. He's actually got more of a stylish cowboy Texan shirt on, and his mask looks like something out of Kamen Rider or some sort of tokusatsu show, but with a glorious mop of hair on top. Kinnikuman actually encountered this guy on his trip to America during the American tour arc. Not sure he lasted very long or made many appearances after that, but nonetheless, here he is. And that's all she wrote for Jean Steamboard. I don't have much else to say about him, so if you have any thoughts, leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. The truth of the matter is, though, the more I look at him, the cooler he actually gets. We're back with another Every Single Muscle, and right now we're featuring number 29. This is the first Terri-Man figure of the series, and, I'm going to jump into it right now. A couple figures down the line is going to be another Terri-Man figure. And when I share that one, I'm also going to be sharing what I think is very possibly the absolute coolest muscle or Kinnikuman thing in my entire collection. So please stick around. A couple videos from now, I'm going to be sharing something super cool. Until then, let's talk about this Terri-Man. So you can see I've got this Terri-Man in red. Now, this particular sculpt is actually Terri-Man after having been unmasked under the guise of Kinnikuman Great, and he's got some scarring on his face. He's got some tears at the bottom of his pants there, which kind of makes him look a bit like a zombie. So very, very cool, very versatile figure in the collection. Not surprisingly, Terri-Man has a full page in the encyclopedia. That's because he's basically the number 2 character in the series, right behind Kinnikuman or Muscle Man. A little stat about him, he's actually named after pro wrestler Terry Funk, and they did this really cool mock-up of him and Terry Funk together. And to kind of continue with that, his father, who exists in the manga in some small form, is named Doryman, named after Terry Funk's father, Dory Funk. There he is again in all his glory. And like I said, stick around. A couple videos from now, we're going to be talking about Terri-Man again, but this time with one of my favorite things in my entire collection, very possibly the coolest piece. Stay tuned. Holy shit, guys, things are starting to get weird. We've got number 30 here, Key-Man. Yeah, that's right. Look at him. Here we go with my baby blue Key-Man right here. And I think we can all agree Key-Man, the name is a bit of a misnomer. He's definitely more of a combination lock man. But we can't really argue with people who speak English as a second language and named these guys and it went through a translator or something. I think what matters most is that this figure is dope. He's dense and thick. He's got just awesome vibes. There he is in the encyclopedia with a nice silvery sheen, though I think I kind of prefer him in the light blue color. And with that, we are only about 12% through discussing every single muscle, so stick around. What's up, internets? If you like the videos I've been sharing about muscle figures, you gotta stick around to the end of this one. I'm gonna be sharing the absolute coolest thing in my entire muscle/Kinnikuman collection. But first, here's muscle figure number 31, Terri-Man. Just a couple videos ago, we shared the very first Terri-Man figure that appears in the Muscle toy line. Here's the second one, and it's a little bit more like the traditional standard look of a Terri-Man. He's got the stars on his tights there and the stars on his shoulders. It's, very human form of him. Looking kind of bland. As a muscle figure, he's really kind of just your average looking dude, but when you know the character like I do, it's kind of a really great figure. I already shared his encyclopedia entry. That's why for this video, I'm sharing something even cooler. And here it is. This is the thing I've been hyping up big time. This is an actual animation cell from the Kinnikuman anime from the late 70s and early 80s. This I picked up in Japan I found it among a whole bunch of other anime cells, and it was, one of my favorite characters from my number 1 favorite franchise of all time. I was told that this might be a screenshot or an animation cell from the scene where he gets shot by Kinkatsu-man. I don't know if that's 100% true, but whatever the case, I really love this. I'm super proud of it. I'm so excited to have it on my wall in a frame looking as awesome as it does. So that's all for this guy. Hope that wasn't overhyped. Stick around. We've got so many more muscles to talk about. Every single muscle's back again, and if this guy looks familiar to you, it might be because you've seen him in my profile picture. This is number 32, King Tun. I'm not going to lie to you, this is one of my absolute favorite figures of all time. I've had this particular toy since I was a little kid. He was in my first set of muscle that I ever owned. You can see he's got a little bit of damage there. That's because he's experienced a whole lot of love. Here's a little piece of trivia for you, something to look out for. You might notice that this guy has some bumps on his back. There's one there, there's a couple on the back of his head. Those are very common on the King Tun figure, but only on some of them, because it turns out there are actually variants of this figure, some with the bumps and some without. I was today years old when I learned this. And here's the entry for our bovine friend in the Kinnikuman encyclopedia. Now, the story of this character is actually pretty funny. When Kinnikuman was a baby, he got switched with this pig, and his parents, without noticing, unknowingly raised a pig in place of their own son. Seriously, how can you not love this guy? Every single muscle chugs along with number 33. This is Skull Bozu. Here's Skull Bozu standing tall, looking lean and tattooed. Now, it's my understanding that the word Bozu actually means bald, and as you can see, he's a bald guy. And the word Sukaru, which is written all over his body, on his chest, his stomach, his legs, arms, and back, that actually means skull. So his name is Sukaru Bozu. Here he is in the encyclopedia with a glorious cape and looking absolutely terrifying. Nothing much else to say about this guy. He is maybe a little bit underwhelming in the world of muscles, but maybe you disagree. Let me know in the comments. Okay, stop. Stop whatever you're doing right now and take a look at this guy. He is very possibly the coolest muscle that was ever made. He's number 34, Saw Killer Man. And as you can see, I've got Saw Killer Man in this sweet purple color. He's also known as Nokogira Man in Japan, and I hopefully didn't say that in an offensive way. Here's his entry in the encyclopedia. And here he is looking badass on my toy shelf with his spinning circular saw blades on his shoulders and elbows. Is he not one of the coolest things you've ever seen? Oh my god, I love him. Why stop now when we're having so much fun? Here's muscle number 35, Warsman. Anyone familiar with the anime will know Warsman. He's one of the main characters in the series. He started out as an evil android, but he succumbed to the powers of friendship thanks to Kinnikuman and is now one of the Justice Chojin. I love this character. He's hilarious. I've even seen this robot cry. Normally, this is where I'd flip to his page in the encyclopedia, but why would I do that when he's on the back cover looking jacked as hell, sporting his Wolverine-style bear claws? He's got veins bulging out of his arms. This dude's a badass. The figure itself, however, is kind of a skinny, plain, boring one as far as muscle figures are concerned, but there are a couple more Warsmans down the line that are a little bit more exciting, and we'll definitely touch on those. Stay tuned for every single muscle! Every single muscle is back with number 36. This is Kinnikuman, and gotta say, this guy's got a lot of character. He's got a lot of personality. He's a terrifying skeleton monster of a man. And he shows up in the manga and anime series as kind of initially as a villain to Kinnikuman, aka Muscle Man, but he kind of develops into a major part of his cheering squad from the audience, from the crowd during all of Kinnikuman's matches. And now, since I'm experimenting with the algorithm, we are not making any edits, and I'm taking you right over to the encyclopedia. There's his entry in the encyclopedia. As you can see, he's a pretty terrifying looking dude, but ultimately, he's kind of a comedy character in the series. And there's the figure one more time. Stay tuned. Let me know in the comments what you think of this guy. Every single muscle's back with number 37. This is Dynamite Piper. And I know he might look like your generic pro wrestler, but really, I like this guy a lot. He's got a little bit of a snarl, the scowl on his face. He's got this big coif of hair. He's got a lot of personality for something that, otherwise looks pretty generic. I have mine in salmon, and I've had him since way back when, my very first 28 pack of muscle figures. And if you look down here he is in the encyclopedia. It actually looks very different there. If you're wondering where his name came from, definitely named after Roddy Piper. Also very possibly named after the Dynamite Kid, though I haven't read that anywhere. I'm just, taking a guess on that one. But, hey, there he is, Dynamite Piper. What a cool little guy. Okay, I know I've been saying this a lot lately, but Tile Man is one of my favorite muscles ever. It's certainly one of my favorite at the moment. As a character in the anime and manga, he's really kind of minor. He's a background hero. He only has one story moment where his powers are taken away from him and he's turned into a mere human, and he's no longer a super-powered guy made out of bathroom floor tiles. But, you can see right here in the encyclopedia how much he actually does look like a bathroom floor. And so now I'm going to place him down alongside his brethren. That's right, I've got a collection of Tile Man. Anytime I see a Tile Man figure, I pick it up. So I've got several different ones in different scales and different sculpts, including this awesome dude in the middle made out of pewter. That is a heavy metal muscle figure, and if you want one of those, I recommend reaching out to a guy on Instagram. His name is Lord Sphincter. He's making muscles out of metal. I know you want that. It's a weekend edition of Every Single Muscle, and we're kicking things off with number 39. This is Sunshine. I know we've seen a couple Sunshines in the series, and we're going to see a couple more down the line. But this is kind of the skinny Sunshine, the svelte Sunshine, if you will. Most of the other ones are bulkier or oddly shaped. This guy's got the most standard body shape. He does have some interesting elbow joints, the bends in them. He doesn't always bend on all of the figures. He's got these big hands. We're also going to check out the encyclopedia real quick. There's a 2-page spread on Sunshine with a little of the mountain over there. The Sunshine, that's because he's one of the more popular characters in the series, one of the more recurring characters in the series, and he's very popular muscle figure as well. Is this a treat or what? We're doing another figure. It's number 40, Kendaman. Kendaman is based on a Japanese toy called Kendama, which is a game that's very similar to the ball and cup game. So this ball on top of his head, you can see it's connected to a chain that he controls, and so he can remove his head, swing it at his opponents. And if you look at it right here in the encyclopedia, that's how it works. And you might know that there are muscle figures like the guy on the right here. That's also Kendaman. That's what he looks like when the ball is not on top of his head. And so there are a couple other figures of this character in the line, but I think we can all agree he's a pretty dope dude. I do like that he also has these very like flat feet. That's an extra distinguishing feature. Yeah, gotta love him. It's an easy Sunday morning edition of Every Single Muscle, and today we've got number 41, Beauty Rhodes. And if he looks familiar and he sounds familiar, that's because he's based on the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, baby. He's a pro wrestling legend and father of the current WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. Here he is in the encyclopedia. There's Beauty Rhodes, looking exactly like Dusty Rhodes, basically. And you can see down here, he's got some metal on his face. And if you look at the figure, he's got that there too. That's because Beauty Rhodes had part of his face torn off and reconstructed with a metal so that way he could fit in better with the Chojin superheroes of the Kinnikuman universe. I love this character because, yeah, he is kind of just your standard pro wrestler, but he's got that more flabby physique, the very Dusty Rhodes physique. I'm a big fan of him. And, you know, he's got some great hair. Just a great figure all around. We're back with another Every Single Muscle, and this time we're featuring number 42. This is Golem Man. As you can see, he's a pretty cool figure. He's got this brick-faced attire, this stone wall-like exterior. He kind of looks like a castle or a tower of some kind. He's actually got a lot of similarities to the Sunshine figure. We're going to take a look at the encyclopedia. There he is in the encyclopedia, looking intimidating and daunting and large and in charge. If you've ever read the anime or watched the anime and read the manga, you know that this guy's a member of Team Kinnikuman Big Body. We're going to take a look at the figure one more time just to admire his awesome design. Really so much fine detail there. And in this purple color, oh man, that's just damn cool. Every Single Muscle returns with number 43. This is Curry Cook, who in the same vein as Ramen Man is kind of a food-based superhero Chojin character. And, you know, I know I haven't gotten to Ramen Man yet. We'll definitely get around to him soon. But, you know, Curry Cook, as you can see, he's got this bowl of curry balanced on top of his head. And we're going to take a look at him in the encyclopedia. There he is. You can see he's sitting balancing that curry bowl. He's got a half-page spread himself. And that's because Curry Cook, despite being a relatively minor character, a supporting hero character, he shows up pretty frequently here and there in the manga and the anime. So there he is. He's Curry Man. He's pretty simple look, you know, he's not too detailed or anything like that. He just got this simple outfit. He's kind of skinny, not too much personality, but, you know, he stands out. Let me know in the comments what you think about him. We're back again with another Every Single Muscle, and today we're looking at number 44. This is Urinal Man. Yeah, you heard that right. This guy is a human-shaped urinal, and he's got a swirl of poop on top of his head. Isn't that just delightful? Here he is in the encyclopedia. He's got 3/4 of a page to himself, and he's only sharing it with this guy whose name is Wash Ass, another toilet bidet-based Chojin superhero. So yeah, Urinal Man, you know, he's not even a one-of-a-kind muscle. There is another Urinal Man figure in the line, which we'll get to eventually, but I think this one's the more traditional Urinal Man look. What else is there to say about this guy? He's full of piss. We're springing back again with another Every Single Muscle, and this time it's number 45, Spring Man. As you can see, the Spring Man I have here is in a beautiful salmon color. If you've ever watched the anime or read the manga before, you know Spring Man's a fairly recurring character. He's one of the 7 Devil Knights alongside Buffaloman. He's kind of a hilarious but also evil character, and he shows up pretty frequently. Here he is in the encyclopedia. There's Spring Man, springing in action. As you can see, he can extend into a full length of 950 centimeters if he really wanted to. Something I'll just note right here is that, when, you know, as a kid, I didn't know he was a spring. I actually thought he was a hose, so I used to call him Hose Man. But, you know, maybe you guys have some opinions on him. Did you own the Spring Man when you were a kid? What did you name him? Let me know in the comments. We're back with another Every Single Muscle, and this time it's number 46, Robin Mask. Now, as you can see, this figure's actually pretty damn cool. He's obviously inspired by a medieval knight. He's got the helmet, he's got the armor, he's got some evil-looking eyes. Pretty awesome-looking figure. If we're going to take a look at the encyclopedia now, you can see he's actually got a 2-page spread there. He's only sharing 1/4 of the page with his son, Kevin Mask. Robin Mask is one of the main characters in the anime and manga. He's one of the closest allies of Kinnikuman, a member of the Idol Chojin, the Justice Chojin, who are our heroes in the series. As far as this figure's concerned, it is pretty great. If I could change one thing, I just wish he was a little bit bulkier. This guy always seemed a little skinny to me. I feel like a little more bulk would make him that much cooler. But hey, I like the beefy boys. That came out weird. I don't know why I said it like that. It's time for another Every Single Muscle, and this time it's number 47, The Chairman, Harabote Muscle. Now, it's worth mentioning that despite his name being Muscle, he is of no relation to Muscle Man, though he does live on the same planet as him. This guy actually fills the role of chairman of the Wrestling Super League, right? He's the guy who, he kind of makes some rules, he kind of has a little bit of authority here and there, but really he just kind of plays foil to Kinnikuman's father and is a comedy character for the most part. Here he is in the encyclopedia there. He's got a little portion of a page himself, along with his family members who we won't really cover because they're more Ultimate Muscle characters, but that's okay. And, here he is one last time. Take a look at him. He's a chubby little fella. He's a fun little dude. I'm a fan of this toy. Sometimes with muscles, it's a little bit ambiguous as to exactly what they were trying to go for, but when we're talking about number 48, Teapack Man, that is not the case. He's got T written across his chest, plain as day, and his head, if you can't tell, is an actual freaking teacup. So yeah, it's not hard to figure out what's going on here. So we're going to check him out in the encyclopedia. There he is, looking really cool in his fighting pose. He's using a tea bag as some sort of weapon. He's wielding it, ready to fight, ready to kick butt. Fact of the matter is, Teapack Man is a really great figure in the Muscle line. He's a very popular character. One of my favorites. He's full of character. He's just full of tea, actually. And so it's not surprising to me that so many people love this particular Muscle figure. And if you're one of those people, let me know in the comments. Please say something. Let's get the conversation started, right? There's so much to say about Muscle figures. What have we got here? Why, it's another Every Single Muscle, and this time we've got number 49, Black Shadow. Black Shadow, pretty cool looking dude. He definitely has almost like a Mexican luchador vibe to him. I kind of want to call him El Toro. That's like my gut instinct. Anyway, here he is in the encyclopedia right there, looking cool and scary and demonic. He's not in the anime at all, actually, but in the manga, I believe he was a cyborg created by Kinnikuman to help take down Kinnikuman. So, but if you take a look at him, he's pretty evil looking. He looks ominous and demonic. No, you're not dreaming. Every Single Muscle has already made it to number 50. This is the Hawkman. And if you're wondering how he got his name, well, something might be wrong with you. There's a hawk attached to his head, sitting on top of his head. Its wings outstretched in either direction. You can take a look at the back there. Some really fine detail work on the hawk's feathers there. We're going to take a real quick glance at the encyclopedia. You can see the Hawkman's he's got almost a full page all to himself. We're going to take another look at the figure here. The Hawkman, if you're familiar with the character, he shows up in the anime as a member of Team Mariposa. And something that's worth noting is that his name is the Hawkman. So if you're thinking of Hawkman from DC Comics, he's merely a Hawkman. This guy, he's the Hawkman. Yeah, that's right. So there you have it, the first 50 Every Single Muscle shorts. But that's just part 1. Part 2, if it's uploaded yet, is right here. And if it's not uploaded yet, check out one of my vintage toy hunts, because I'm having a hell of a time doing that now too. Either way, stick around for more Every Single Muscle.